And from there we move on to our location report, which comes this week from the set of The Rise and Fall of Little Voice. It's adapted from an award-winning stage play and directed by Mark Herman, who made the excellent Brassed Off. Here, as in the theatre, Jane Horrocks plays the girl who discovers she has an unusual vocal talent and is swiftly exploited by a seedy agent, Michael Caine, than whom, when he sets his mind to it, nobody can be seedier. As ever, it was the story's theatrical antecedents that caused the producers the biggest problems.
And action.
Hello? Is Mr. Boo in? I want to speak to him now. Ray say.
I think often in adaptations you end up with a screenplay that's so far from the original text that you wonder, well, why did they bother to base it on the original text in the first place? And what was important to us, Mark saw the play at the National and again in the West End when it transferred, and absolutely loved it. And it was very important to us that we said, this is what we loved about the play, this is why we want to make the film, and these are the things that we want to be similar.
Jim?
I'd really like to see.
Jim?
You'd like to see, would you?
I'll have these big ballroom sets.
Now, you say you saw a video of the play, although not the play itself, and it was screaming to get out.
What struck me about the video is normally people say, well, if you make a movie of a play, oh, they ruined the play by trying to open it out. This play was screaming to get out of the set. I mean, it was bursting out of the theatre, really, and it's been done beautifully. The screenplay was written by Mark Herman, who's directing it, who I'd never come across before. He'd only directed one picture that I'd seen, which was Brassed Off.
I thought it'd be really difficult to turn into a film, actually. And then I watched, it's had this checkered history since then, which I sort of followed with interest, but as far as writing a screenplay is my biggest challenge, really. The hardest writing job I've done. Just to lift it off the stage and get it onto screen is quite difficult. The essence of the story is about a girl who's stuck in this room. So to open it out, I enlarged one role, which is the Ewan McGregor role of Billy, and gave that a much more open feel. And that gives a much more open feel to the whole story. So there's a big contrast between what's happening with Little Voice in this room to what's happening with Billy out with his pigeons.
It's a sort of modern-day parable, fairy story, and it's very simple, but I think it's got quite a lot of depth to it as well. It's very moving and extremely funny in places as well. I think that is the essence of a good piece of work, is the writing.
Okay, and action.
Hello? I think it's the best script I've had since Educating Rita. Really wonderful script. And I'm not just talking about, most actors sit there and talk about their part. Everybody else's part is in actual fact better than mine, but mine's good too, so it's wonderful. And all the other actors are better than me, but I'm good too, so it's okay. Mari,
Ray Say, tell us a little bit about him.
Don't speak for a minute.
Mari, I've got to go. Ray Say is disgusting. That's about it. He's a vulgar, stupid loser he was born in London and sort of failed his way north. Usually you're sort of born in the north and try and get to London to make the big time. He'll eventually wind up as he's an agent. And he'll eventually wind up in the Hebrides, I should think, doing concerts.
Reykjavik.
Yeah, but Reykjavik probably. Yeah, but he won't discover Bjork.
Action.
At last, save secured, I shall go to the ball, oh you darlings from the sky.
Jim Cartwright wrote the original stage play, The Rise and Fall of Little Voice, especially for Jane Horrocks, who had told him, rather modestly, that she did fairly good impressions of famous female singers. So who does she do for the film version?
Shirley Bassey and Cilla Black were people that I've always done. But Judy Garland is a relatively new one, and so is Monroe, and Billie Holiday's quite new as well. I mean, when this play evolved, it just started off with people like Garland and Bassey and Cilla Black, and then as time went on, I thought, oh, well, I could possibly do Billie Holiday as well, and I could possibly do Gracie Fields, so a few more were sort of shoved in.
Now, it's all about mimicry, isn't it, this time? I mean, Jane's character is an extraordinary mimic.
Yes.
You can't be any stranger to people doing impressions of you.
Oh, my God, no, everybody does. Even I can do an impression of me. They always do a very funny, they do this strange voice. They say, they put on a pair of glasses, they come on and go, my name is Michael Caine, not many people know that. And everybody says, yeah, that's just like him. And I sit there going, now, wait a minute, wait a minute.
It is extraordinary, that talent, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm frightened she's going to do all of us at the end of the shoot. Not looking forward to that bit.
You've got different eyelines for Brenda.
Two eyelines. One
Yeah.
real eyeline for Annette, which is good, and then there's a little red dot up here.
Anyone who saw the rise and fall of Little Voice on stage, or who saw Jane Horrocks' television special, can testify to the accuracy of her impressions of the likes of Cilla Black, Shirley Bassey and Judy Garland.
But I have to ask, why all this fuss about a girl who can do other people's voices? God, that's terrible, Katie. It doesn't sound a bit like Michael Caine.